everyone, this is Just Phantom, and hope you guys enjoyed your holidays. So before the holidays, I was talking about eating disorders and several other things within the community, and I've noticed that there is a community out there that is spreading misinformation on TikTok. And the thing is like, some of that stuff on there isn't misinformation, some of it is just regular TikTok stuff, and people trying to promote that I'm happy the way I am. But there is also a lot of disgusting misinformation out there from this particular hashtag, which is called Fat Talk. And the thing is like I said, some of it is just regular TikTok stuff, like dancing, looking at food, stuff like that. It's just like normal TikTok stuff. But then there are other things where there are people and they're talking about quote unquote fat phobia, and like, okay, so I'm gonna say yes, there are issues with people not accepting fat people. I mean, but the thing is like, the way that they frame this is it is some sort of, discrimination. Like some horrible discrimination. And a lot of them do compare this to being a person of color. Dude, I can't change myself being Hispanic, but I can lose weight. You can't compare the two. You cannot. So, let's put that out of the window and talk more about the medical information. I can't speak! Medical misinformation that they're spreading. So, one of the things that I've noticed that some of them talk about is this theory that is it's kind of crazy, and does kind of have to do with, how your body is. So it's called set point theory, where it's like, oh, your body's going to get to a certain point all the time. But the thing is like, they don't put into consideration human habits when talking about this. They're like, hey, your body's always going to end up at the point where it's supposed to be. And if I'm always ending up fat, then that's where I'm supposed to be. Which is not true. Your set point, according to the theory, is just where your body always ends up at some point. But a person who is overweight, they'll probably end up back where they started because of their habits, not because that's just what their body is supposed to be. Your body is supposed to be a specific type of weight based off of your height and your general physical structures. Like, say you're someone who's more athletic, you're probably going to weigh a little more than the average person because of muscle. But your BMI is still a pretty good indicator of what your weight is supposed to be. Because, if you have more muscle, then you're going to be a little heavier than the average person. But muscle mass is the indicator for that, not okay, so if you are a little over your BMI, then that is the indicator. But if you're just the average built person and you're not exactly I guess the best way to put it is if you're not super buff. If you're not super buff, your BMI is a good indicator still of what you're supposed to be. Some of these people in this community will say that the BMI does not put in consider race and socioeconomic, information about the person themselves, where they came from, what ethnicity they are, and all that. But the thing is they're saying that specific races carry specific weight better. It is true that, if you are a specific race, you are a black person, or if you're Hispanic, your body will look a little different if you are a specific weight. However, that doesn't make that weight healthy. That means that your body just tends to put that into specific areas. Like, with me, I'm more pear-shaped. I don't really have a giant gut, but I am overweight, and I have, really big hips and really big butt. So, that's just where my body carries weight. And the thing is I don't have a big upper body section. I do have a little bit of the arm flab thing, but it's not big enough to be considered me being somewhat top heavy. I'm more really bottom heavy, and it's just where my body carries weight. It doesn't have anything to do with my health. My health is pretty unhealthy, not just because of my body weight, but my body weight is a contributing factor to that. And that is why I continue to try to lose weight. Because the thing is a lot of people, they're like, oh, well, you're not losing weight as fast, and you're not doing it at a specific time. And the thing is it's because I'm trying to make it stay. And the thing is I'm a former binger, which means sometimes I will kind of go back to that. And I'm not gonna say, no, I don't do that, because I do. I try to fight it all the time. And the thing is like, people don't take responsibility for what they're doing. Sometimes, yes, I will overdo it, and I will feel bad about it afterwards. And because of that, I will try to work on myself. And it's not a personal guilt thing per se. It's more just the fact that I feel gross after doing that. And I think, like, a lot of people do, when they overeat, they just don't feel good. And the thing is like, you do it because you want to feel happy at the time, because you felt a comfort towards having that. Because, I mean, that's the reason something's called a comfort food. You take it, you eat it, and you just keep it. You keep it with you emotionally, because, like, that was what you were given to feel better. Sometimes as a child, sometimes, you just had the holidays and your grandma or your dad made some arroz con gandules or made some delicious candy rice, and you just, like, you eating that stuff up, but you know for a fact that that stuff ain't great for you. It's not good for you. And the thing is like, just because I am a minority doesn't mean I can't acknowledge the fact that, yeah, the stuff we put into our bodies isn't great. And my habits have a determining factor on how I eat and how I look. I'm not saying in society there aren't double standards towards how fat people are treated in comparison to how thin people are treated. I know that a lot of stuff is more centered around how thin people look in things. However, the thing is like, the reason this is the societal norm is because generally, I mean, even now, they're not exactly promoting the super skinny body either. They're kind of promoting the normal in-between body. And that's the one that they're supposed to be promoting, because they want the general, like, people around them to be healthy. And the thing is like, you can't be healthy and be overweight. It's just a fact. I know there are people out there who are going to tell me, but my labs are good, and every single time I go to the doctor, I'm fine. But that is now. You are fine now. The thing is like, if you are a bigger person, you are more likely to get a whole bunch of things. And I know there are people out there who are going to say, well, you can get those things if you're thin. Yeah, but it's uncommon. It's not that common. It is definitely a lot more common if you are overweight or obese. And just because, like, this is something I don't get. Like, if you hear something is more common during, like, having a specific thing, usually that stops people from doing that thing. Like, recently there's been a decline in people smoking because they found out that there's a causation between having cancer and having, like, smoking cigarettes. So people are cutting down on smoking cigarettes, and there's even more cigarette programs to stop people from smoking because it is causing issues. I really don't get why they're choosing this to die on. This horse to die on. It's like, oh, but my... God, I can't speak. But they're like, oh, well, my labs are perfectly fine. Your labs could be perfectly fine. But, like, does that say anything about your arteries? Does that say anything about, like, being able to walk properly? Does that say anything about being able to use your lungs properly? I mean, my partner is going for weight loss surgery, and he is the sweetest guy. And I'm promoting him to do this, because I know it'll help him. And we can do stuff together once he is of a good weight. Because the thing is right now we can't really exercise together because he's too big. And he's a sweet guy. And I want the best for him. And that's why I'm giving him the okay for this. Because, like, I want him to feel like he's going to have support for this. And that's what you want to do with the people that you love. You want to support them in doing stuff. Oh, this is going to segue into something else I wanted to talk about. For some reason, these people think that it's bad to have before and after photos for losing weight. And the thing is like, I don't get that. I really don't. It's like, why would you tell someone that it's not okay to be a specific body type if your movement is for people to accept specific body types? And the thing is like, it's taking away from someone else's achievements and making them feel small. And it's like, what the hell are you doing? What the hell are you doing? Like, I mean, it's so messed up. Someone should be happy when someone makes the strive to get to a specific body type. Because it's hard. It's hard to lose weight. And the thing is like, instead of just saying, oh, well, I didn't want to do that, but I'm glad that you were able to get to a healthy weight for you. And the thing is like, they just don't want to acknowledge that. They want to continue to dwell on how they can't get to that point instead of being happy for someone. And the thing is like, if they were getting down to an unhealthy weight, then that's something you can talk about. Say, okay, this is a little unhealthy. But if they're getting down to a proper healthy weight, and they're able to move around, and they're happy, and they're agile, and they can, like, breathe better, they can move better. Like, if they're healthy, then that should be promoted and accepted instead of treated like garbage. Like, I would say maybe it would be, I mean, even for someone who has the restrictive eating disorders, which I heard someone say this, and I love it because I'm going to continue to use it now. There are restrictive eating disorders and there's non-restrictive eating disorders. And I'm going to continue to use that because I think it's great. Because it's like, it acknowledges that eating disorders comes in a very wide spectrum. So even if someone does have a restrictive eating disorder, I don't think that they should be treated badly. Because at the end of the day, if you were to be a specific body type, like, would you like it if somebody was just being rude to you? I mean, isn't that what this particular movement is supposed to be about? That you're getting tired of being treated a specific way? So, like, and it's crazy because they'll be like, oh, this is something else that they do for restrictive eating disorders, which I think is disgusting and cruel. And the thing is like, I know not all the people within this Fat Talk hashtag has done this, but, like, there are a vocal minority who are doing this. And they're saying that to be basically of a restrictive ED, you need to have fat phobia. And no, that is not what fat phobia is. Fat phobia has to do with, like I said before, where it has to do with not accepting someone for their body type. You're not doing that if you're doing that to yourself. People with restrictive EDs have problems perceiving how their body looks, how they feel, how, like, you taking what they're going through and making them feel uncomfortable just because you're insecure is disgusting. And it makes me uncomfortable just seeing that there are people who take people's issues, people's mental struggles, and then diminish it by saying, oh, well, if you stop your fat phobia, then your ED will be over. The reason that they think this is because one of the criterias for anorexia nervosa is that you yourself are too scared to gain weight, and they think that that's a problem. But the issue is that people with anorexia nervosa take it to the point where their bodies are an unhealthy weight. If it was just them trying to fit the societal norm, which is the way that they're portraying it, why wouldn't they stop when they got to the societal norm? And the reason is because it's not just because they're trying to fit societal norms. They're trying to get to a point where they have no body fat. And that's the issue. And it's not some sort of fat phobia. It's literally because they see themselves as huge. And, like, people with, like, this issue, sometimes they get to the point where they're addicted to losing weight. And it's like, you take that particular thing, and then you put it next to a person who is overeating. And the thing is like, there isn't really much of a difference between somebody, like, overeating to the extreme and then losing weight to the extreme. They're both extremes. And when you accept that extremes are a bad thing, then you get to the point where, yes, this is unhealthy. And the thing is like, I hate the society doesn't put that into consideration. If your body is too big, you can't move. If your body is too small, you can't move. You can lose all sorts of things in your body at a certain point if your body is unhealthy. And that's the goal you should be at. You shouldn't be trying to fit societal norms, but you should at least try to be fitting what is considered okay for your body. And the thing is like, sometimes that's not entirely what the BMI says it is. But, I mean, you should at least be close to that. use that as a guide rather than using it as what is the determining factor of what you feel your body should be at. Because, like I said, some people have, muscles. Some people are a specific type of build. Some people are, I just say, do what you gotta do to be a healthy you. But the better option would be to avoid the extremes. You don't want to be too thin. You don't want to be too fat. Be in the middle. Be okay. So this is editing, Phantom. I totally forgot to put this, even though I had it listed down on some of the stuff I wanted to talk about. But I was going to talk about how some of these people actually believe that it is disordered eating to calorie count and eat healthy food, including those what I eat in a day things. They're talking about how those things can be damaging for people with EDs. But the thing is like those type of things, yeah, I mean, maybe it can have an effect on people with restrictive eating disorders, but people who don't have restrictive eating disorders, it can be a good tool to help them out, especially people who have the non-restrictive eating disorders, like binge eating disorder. That can actually help them rather than hurting them. And the thing is like, we need to all have our own coping mechanisms to deal with stuff. And calorie counting can be one of those things to help people who are trying to stay on track and do what they gotta do. Because if you keep track even when you eat badly, that means that you have at least some knowledge of how much you're consuming and what you're putting into your body. Some people, calorie counting doesn't completely work for them. Sometimes calorie counting can get to a point where you can continue to do it, and then after a while, you mentally know what these things are. So I would say don't completely rule it out, and hopefully this is a good ending for this. Okay. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this. Like, comment, and subscribe for more weird, wonderful, and ranty content as far as I'm seeing in this video, because I'm ranting. Anyway, I will see you soon. Peace. Goodbye. Mwah.